What's up, guys? Welcome back to another review, and this time I'm going to be tackling one of my all-time favorite action movies ever made, and that is RoboCop. Starring Peter Weller as the title character, Nancy Allen as Ann Lewis, Kurtwood Smith as Clarence Boddicker, Ronnie Cox as Dick Jones, and Dan O'Herlihy as the old man, with Miguel Ferrer as Bob Morton, and a slew of other supporting characters I'm not going to name because those characters I mentioned, those are the key players right there. Okay, what can I say about RoboCop that other people have said? I'm just going to give you my bare thoughts on this, and I'm going to say this. RoboCop is the definition of a fun fucking flick. This movie is balls to the wall fun. The action is over the top. The humor is satirical and hilarious. The action, the acting is all across the board great. Every single character in this movie is fun to watch. This movie is riddled with golden quotes that I still use to this day. Every single quote in RoboCop is officially part of my vocabulary in any way, shape, or form. I will always go out of my way to quote RoboCop when I'm talking to somebody. That's how much I love this movie, and that's how much this movie has impacted me from being a little kid now into my adult life. This movie is very special to me. It's one of those movies that when I was growing up as a child, I would watch on an endless loop. You know, it was Batman Returns, The Crow, and RoboCop were my all-time 4 favorite movies when I was growing up as a kid. RoboCop being placed exactly where it is. It's not saying that it's a horrible movie at all, because it's not. But in terms of the ladder and which ones I would like the most, it would be Batman, then The Crow, then Batman Returns right after The Crow, then RoboCop right at the end. That's just my personal preference. That was my preferred preferential order. Looking back at it now in hindsight. But let's talk about RoboCop. What can I say about this thing, man? The special effects in this movie by Rob Bottin, fantastic. The overall look of RoboCop is just unique. That whole cyberpunk look that he has, it's a very distinct look too. Like, if I were to show you a picture of the RoboCop character, nothing's on the picture. It's just the character. No words, no nothing. Your mind will automatically say, "Yo, that's RoboCop." And even if you don't know who it is, your subconscious will be saying, "Yo, that's RoboCop." Subconscious, which takes us into this. Peter Weller, who played RoboCop Alex Murphy, fantastic performance. When you first see Alex Murphy, he comes across as a very naive guy, but a very likable guy, and somebody who likes being a cop and sees himself as a hero, and sees himself as someone that his son could look up to, because he has this nice little dialogue exchange about how he tells Lewis how his son views him as a hero, pretty much in a way. And when you see Murphy get massacred by Clarence Boddicker in his game, you feel for him, because the way they take him down is fucking horrific. Clarence shoots off his hand, and then when he gets up to his feet, they just do a bullet brigade, and he loses his arm. He gets shot in the head. He is completely dead. And then, the OCP takes in his body. They experiment upon him. They erase whatever memory. They erase his memory, and he's reborn as a cybernetic cyborg, pretty much. The subconscious of Alex Murphy does exist. And throughout the course of the movie, it slowly starts to make its way out. And RoboCop starts to remember who he was, or have a memory of this person that is now inside the cyborg as it comes out. And the way that Paul Verhoeven does that throughout the course of the movie is really, really well done. And it's not done in a cheap way. It's done in a, to me, very organic way. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Nancy Allen as Ann Lewis, great character. She's a strong female character to me, and one of the best female characters put on film because her gender is never taken into question. She's portrayed as almost, as you could say, an every woman. women who can watch RoboCop and see Ann Lewis, you can project yourself onto Ann Lewis because she's not being played to be anything. She's not sexualized at all. She's playing the role as if anyone could play the role. And to me, that's what makes a strong female character. You never question the gender. You just have them be a character. And that's it. Their gender should never come into play because that does not make a strong character. That makes for a fucking gimmick, and that makes for a political statement. RoboCop, the exact opposite, kind of like Alien. Genderless character that anyone can relate to, that it happens to be a woman who is a badass. That's Ann Lewis. That's all I got to say. Good performance either way. Good chemistry with Peter Weller, and they have a good team dynamic that plays throughout the film. And I like how Ann Lewis pretty much becomes RoboCop's link to the human world in a way, and helps. And I like how Ann is the one that ultimately helps RoboCop regain his humanity, further deepening their friendship. Love it. Really, really well done. Then you got, Ronnie Cox playing Dick Jones, and Dick Jones is like a combination of Dr. Doom and Lex Luthor. A sadistic, soft-spoken psychopath. And the rivalry he has with Bob Morton, how that plays throughout the course of the film, is actually a really good rivalry. I like the rivalry a lot between Dick Jones and Bob Morton. Dick Jones is the number one in OCP, right below the old man. And Bob Morton is this young, fresh executive looking to make a name for himself. So after Dick Jones does this little presentation with this machine called Ed 209, it malfunctions and accidentally kills an employee of OCP, and that whole scene is both cringe and hilarious all at the same time because the amount of bullets this poor guy takes is ridiculous. He literally gets cut to shreds. I'm surprised he didn't lose any limbs while being brigaded by bullets. It's funny and cringe at the same time because it's just so fucking graphic and over the top that you can't help but laugh at what you see. And that's what makes RoboCop memorable. The violence in this movie is so over the top that you can't help but laugh at the awesomeness of it. Of course, there are some moments where the violence is just hard to watch, especially when Alex Murphy's getting massacred. Because the way they massacre Murphy, like I said, is fucking it's really, really like turn your head cringe. Man, again, they destroyed that man. But back to Dick Jones and Bob Morton. So yeah, after the whole Ed 209 debacle, Bob Morton goes over Dick Jones's head, goes straight to the old man and says, "Listen, let me do the RoboCop initiative." Old man gives Bob Morton the okay. Alex Murphy just happens to be a fresh corpse. Bob Morton takes it, designs RoboCop, and it's a big success. We see RoboCop's first initial outings. He saves a couple from being robbed, and he saves a woman from being raped. And Peter Weller's performance in both those scenes is great. When he's in RoboCop form, that stoic, authoritarian nature to RoboCop is great. His posture and stature is great. Peter Weller's performance as RoboCop is very, like I said, is very stoic and very commanding and very authoritarian, and you buy it, and it plays out perfectly. He plays it so well. And I love the dry humor he has as RoboCop too. It's robotic, but he does have a sense of humor. Like when he takes down the guy, he turns to the couple and he's like, "Thanks for your cooperation. Good night." Then when he saves the woman from almost being raped, he's like, "Madam, I will notify a rape crisis. Madam, you just suffered a traumatic experience. I will notify a rape crisis center." The way he says it is so dry and robotic that you can't help but laugh at it, and it kind of like you feel uncomfortable laughing, but you can't help but laugh at it. And that's not enough, and that's just the over exaggeration of the movie itself. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's great because this movie is a satirization. This movie is a sci-fi action, but it also has a satirical nature to it. It's almost as if it's parodying. It's almost like a satire of those over-the-top, violent, 80s movies that were coming out, and also the entire culture of the 80s during the Reaganomics era and overconsumption. You have these cool little commercials that play throughout the film, and these little talking heads, which is heavily inspired by Frank Miller's Dark Knight Rises, by the way. By Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. You get these talking heads news things. And it's satire, and it's done really, really well. And it weaves into the storyline without slowing it down. It's actually some of the funniest stuff too. Great, you got to watch it. It's hilarious shit. But yeah, back on track. So yeah, Dick Jones, Bob Morton, the rivalry, and the rivalry pretty much goes to a climax where Dick Jones, who has an association with Clarence Boddicker, sends Boddicker to kill Bob Morton, which he does, and then RoboCop ends up attacking Boddicker. Boddicker pretty much spills his guts, saying that Dick Jones runs OCP, Dick Jones runs the cop, Dick Jones is pulling the strings behind everything. And that's when Dick Jones is, revealed as the be-all, end-all, the top guy, the main villain behind this thing. The movie kind of hinted at it, that it was him, but then once that revelation comes, it's very satisfying, because you already established Dick Jones as a fucking dick anyway. And Ronnie Cox puts on a fantastic performance as Dick Jones. You can tell he's reveling at playing this sleazy guy. Because prior to this movie, Ronnie Cox was known for playing these dad roles, and you can see him relishing as being a villain. And he's such a natural at it too. He's such a natural dick that you just can't help but like. No pun intended. He's such a natural asshole that you can't help but like Dick Jones. It's really good performance. And then you got, like I said, you got Kurtwood Smith as Clarence Boddicker, and Boddicker is just the epitome of a scumbag, but he's a funny scumbag. He has great lines. The scene where he's spilling his guts to RoboCop is hilarious. The scene where he's and Dick Jones are having a conversation is great. How they're trying to intimidate one another. It's just fucking hilarious. The scene where Boddicker kills Morton is also a good scene. He just walks into the house. Bob Morton snorts coke with these two models. He just walks in and is like, bitches leave. It's just a great scene. And how he just did, and how Bob is praying for his life, and Boddicker's just looking at him like, great. And then of course, when Murphy's execution scene happens, Boddicker, he just has the great line. He's like, I got a problem. I don't like cops, and cops don't like me. And he does the whole great. Boddicker is a definition of a heartless, soulless scumbag, and Kurtwood Smith plays him with devilish awesomeness. There's more stuff I like about Clarence, but watch the fucking movie. I'm not going to say no more about him. You got some good side characters. You got Robert DeQuay as Sergeant Reed, good character. He hates the fact that the OCP runs the police division, and that he has to answer to them. But at the same time, he will always side with his fellow cops, which instantly makes him likable, and a good character as well. You got the character of Leon, played by Ray Wise, and I love fucking Leon. He's pretty much Clarence's right-hand man, and he has a bunch of funny scenes. Two of them stand out. A nightclub scene where he goes into an altercation with RoboCop, and RoboCop pretty much does absolutely nothing because Leon pretty much hurts himself. And then there's a scene near the end where Leon and the gang are trying to attack Lois and RoboCop inside this refinery, and one of his crew members named Emil gets splashed with toxic waste. His skin is melting, is all grotesque looking. He spots Leon, begs him for help, and Leon just has this scream. He's like, "Get away from me, man!" It's hilarious. Now, those two scenes I mentioned stand out because Ray Wise's facial expressions are so over the top and memorable that you can't help but love it. It's hysterical. I love it a lot. It's great shit. Again, the last few minutes of action in this movie is fantastic. RoboCop and Ann team up and take down Lewis and take down Leon and Boddicker, and then we get to the end where RoboCop goes to OCP. The old man fires Dick Jones. Dick Jones is revealed that he was responsible for killing Bob Morton. And RoboCop, because RoboCop can't attack an OCP official, he has to wait for Dick Jones to no longer be an official. So once the old man says, "You're fired," and RoboCop fires, it's hysterical. And I love how he says, "Thank you." Boom! Dick Jones falls, done, splat, end of movie. RoboCop fucking rules. 10 out of 10. I have nothing more to say. If you have not seen it, what are you waiting for? Watch it. Like the video. Comment. Subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll check you back for more. Later.